In my naivety during Mamiji's last trip here, we were having heart to heart, and she was coming to terms with some of the lesser things. And she was saying more like, I wish I didn't do this or that. And that was quite healing for us, for me. Recognizing your mistakes, अपनी गलती का एहसास करना एक बड़प्पन होता है. It is a sign of growth, maturity when you admit your mistakes. And admitting your mistakes is a way of healing it. So I heard myself saying this thing to my mom in a very unusual fashion. I said, Mami ji, even if you live one day that is worthwhile, your entire life is worth living. ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਬੋਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਚੱਜ ਨਾਲ ਜੀ ਲਿੱਤਾ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਸਫਲ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਚੰਗੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੀ ਲਿੱਤਾ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੂਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਸਫਲ ਹੈ ਐਂਡ ਆਈ ਵਾਸ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟਲ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਇਟ ਐਂਡ ਵਨ ਮੇ ਸੇ ਦੈਟ ਇਸ 100 ਚੂਹੇ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਬਿੱਲੀ ਹਜ ਕਰਨ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਥੀਸ ਆਫਟਰ ਈਟਿੰਗ 100 rats the cat wants to go to hajj. He's like, okay, I'm becoming a good person now. What is the point of that? How do you justify it? How do you explain it? Two things come to my mind. Valmiki was Ratnakar. He was a dacoit. He was a Daku. Valmiki is no longer remembered as a Daku. His past is forgiven, he's forgotten. The moment he turned his direction, अपनी मुंडी को change करना होता है, अपनी direction को change होता है. We just have to change the direction in our life. The way we think, the way we feel, the way we act, prioritizing our priorities, following our values, going the direction of what makes you happy, what you love. So instead of leaning towards Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, Mat, Matsya, the 6 enemies, you start leaning in the direction of the 5 human values: love, peace, truth, non-violence, right action, and so forth. So for eternity, Valmiki will continue to be remembered as the author of the greatest epic, Ramayana. Another example I can think of is I used to be non-vegetarian. And at some point, when I started to follow Baba, Baba had said it at some point. He hasn't repeated it very often. You have to dig this. He said, if you are my devotee, he had put some conditions. He says, if you're my devotee, don't eat non-vegetarian food, don't eat meat, don't smoke or consume tobacco one way or the other. Don't drink alcohol. Although at some point he had mentioned that even wine is better than milk. A little bit of wine, a spoonful of wine or a small thing of wine has many more benefits than the milk that we consume these days. Do not demean yourself or demean other people by giving and accepting bribes. And finally, do not gamble. My father had passed down to me the family values from our family tree. He said, listen, my father has passed down to me, which was passed down to my father by my grandfather, which means it has come from my great grandfather. 3 things he had. My dad has not demanded anything from me, but he was like, 3 things, son, I ask of you, from you. Do not drink, do not smoke, and do not gamble. So it was very easy for me when I went to college. In engineering college, smoking, drinking is like eating food and drinking water. And I had no temptation to go in that direction because I had already inculcated the family values. So once I became vegetarian, I have been vegetarian since then. In sports, sometimes the matches are tied and it is the last moment. If it's a cricket, it is 1 ball left and you need a certain score, whether it is 1 or a 4 or a 6. And that player has to just get over that hump and they'll win the match. And if that player who is batting doesn't get over, they lose. So when that player is able to make that shot, because of that last play, the entire team wins the entire match or the series, whatever you want to call it. And because of that one play, that player is made often the man of the match or a person of the match. Same way, when I live a day worthwhile, my entire life is worthwhile. I'll be remembered for that. An entire life is a very long period of time. I can just focus on the moment. I only have to worry about living this moment in a worthwhile fashion, doing what I love, listening to, following the voice of my heart. People used to ask Phyllis, what is your secret? You are in your 90s, traveling around the world, living by yourself, taking care of yourself, and then doing seminars all day long, and you're tireless. Here we are, younger people, like 40 years younger, 50 years younger, and getting tired just listening to you. What is the secret of your energy? And Phyllis said, I constantly ask the high C, what do you want me to do right now? And then whatever comes to my mind, whatever comes in front of me, oh, I'm supposed to write an email, send a fax to somebody, call somebody, or do the writing work on the book, or planning the day, or having my meal, whatever it is. She just does that. And when that is done, then she goes back again to the well. I see, or Baba, what do you want me to do right now? And Phyllis said that if we follow it, we will also become like Phyllis Crystal. So it is a good time to honor Phyllis as a saint who lived her life as an example, listening to and following the voice of the high sea and living the mantra. Baba, teach me how to lead without controlling. Even though Baba had told her that this method, cutting the ties that bind, which was later called as the Phyllis Crystal method, has to reach to as many people in the world as possible. Yet she did it without breaking her core principle, no control. It is very honorable when you are working in an honorable fashion. Honoring what? Honoring your values. The tests that come in your life, they test your core principle. That how wedded are you to your core principles? Your core principles are tested. How shaken, how grounded are you to your core principles? What are you willing to sacrifice? Protecting your core principles. The one who protects dharma, dharma protects that person. I am wedded to the voice of my heart, right? Whatever my heart is telling is what I love, what makes me happy. They're not difficult things. And to each person, it is unique to that person. There might be some overlap between people. I'm not saying it's an absolute unique thing for each person. There obviously will be overlaps between people. But I listen to and follow my heart, my dharma, my atma dharma. When I follow my atma dharma, all my dharmas are taken care of.